gone down there and listened to their presentation on the PDAs, and I go, well, you know, all the PDAs are in a flood zone. And I go, and you don't even talk about sea level rise. You know, that you're not even addressing it. And they go, oh, that is just overblown. Well, now they've addressed it. You know, now they're acknowledging it. But this is a plan that's basically going to be updated every 4 years. And so, like, what our current RENA number is going to be included in that, which is the 401 units or whatever. But the next cycle, what we adopted that night on with the 83 units for our next housing element, that RENA number would then be inserted. So for this plan, the current RENA number, I think that we just adopted at CCAG on the RENA housing thing that I attended. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would be included in that because this plan's already written, but the next cycle it would then go into that plan. One of the flaws I kind of see with it is they talk about regional, but yet it's not regional, because if you look at Brisbane, like, we have a lot of housing going up around us in a regional sense. And, you know, that's one of the questions I had asked, because I said, it's going to create 75,000 or all these jobs. But as I looked at it, I said, well, 75% of these are, like, I'm not sure these are term living wage jobs, because if you're talking places that have mixed use, I mean, these are like Starbucks and stuff like that. These aren't people that are going to be buying these homes, you know, and so it's kind of flawed from that aspect, and that's something to really kind of look at. Mm-hmm. And say, well, where do these folks live? And that was kind of the next segment, you know, that went on in the meeting with the Mid-Peninsula Housing. And I would like to invite them to come and give a presentation, because I thought it was very enlightening. And Clay and Matthew Franklin, I have his card, and we can give him a call and have a pre-meeting with him before we go on the council, so he kind of understands the lay of Brisbane. But some statistics that he threw out with what affordable housing is, you know, and low-cost housing, and it was really good. He said 85% of their clients are employed, but their standard of living for what they make is way less than what, you know, the county median is. But these are folks that, you know, fall into the category of bank tellers, you know, school teachers, you know, all these folks that, you know, are into these industries that you utilize every day, but realistically they're considered low income. And so, you know, in the future it's like, well, where are these folks going to live if you don't plan for it, you know, and how do you integrate them in the community? Because the perception is that everybody's Section 8, and that's not the case. That's only about 15%, if that. And that's really kind of like, oh, yeah, you know, I mean, because all these people have all the different ideas of what low income is without realizing that
just sons and daughters.
Yeah.
Sons and daughters.
Yeah. Yeah, and how do you make, you know, truly affordable housing?
Right.
And, you know, and it has, you know, it talks about the biggest challenge is you know, on building, you know, the affordable housing from creating the partnerships on being able to get the land, because you're competing with all the for-profit businesses. And so it is very important that you integrate your affordable housing into the cities, because otherwise these jobs, people are going to be living far away and spending the majority of their money on transportation and then the housing cost. And in the One Bay Area plan, jumping back to that, they showed that that's one thing that they couldn't control was the housing cost, and that's going up. And we know the letter that we're sending to the Board of Supervisors really kind of addresses that, and it kind of dovetailed into that, and so it was really, really insightful, and I think it would be really good for the council to see that presentation, just to kind of help give us a lay, and maybe how we can maybe partner with them to do some of the stuff that we wanted to do, you know, and taking a look at it. So, anyway, I went into from one Bay Area plan into council subcommittee, so I'm done.
Okay, good. Thank you. I wanted to add one thing to this discussion, and maybe even to the discussion before the Planning Commission and then for us, but I remember when it first came out in draft form, the council submitted some comments, and a part of those comments came from the Open Space and Ecology Committee, which I was a part of drafting, so I remember it pretty well.
It's the one Bay Area plan?
And yeah, right. The first draft, and I remember one of the things that I was particularly aware of, which I became aware of again, thanks to the material that you sent, Clark, is as an indicator of success, they're still using regional gross domestic product, which of course is totally inconsistent with they're also using reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, but the GDP includes, anytime you do greenhouse gas emissions, you know, that adds to the GDP. So there's a conflict there, which they don't seem to comprehend. And we did, Lisa wrote a really terrific, Stuart, you remember that, right? Yeah, Lisa wrote a terrific paragraph on that issue. And they obviously don't get it yet. You know, just like they didn't get sea level. And now they don't seem to get the fact that, you know, a lot of the things that add to GDP actually are detrimental to the environment. That's the way GDP is calculated. And so they're doing something which is contradictory, and they don't seem to be aware of that fact. So I hope that we can, you know, resurrect that language, because it's already written, and I thought Lisa did a really good job of that. So
we'll bring that forward to the Planning Commission and then forward to you.
Okay, thanks. Any other staff reports?
I'm done.
You're done. Okay. So we have mayor council matters and subcommittee reports in addition to the ones we've already had.
I just did mine.
Yeah, I think we've probably done most of them, yeah?
I have one.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, that's right. Councilmember Lentz and I met regarding the Sierra Point Guidelines subcommittee. We met with the help of Louise Schiller, who took some maps that we had and sort of gave us an idea or an overview of what makes good public space, what makes good open space, what would be desirable land. And this was all in the thought of how we might make changes to the parcels out at Sierra Point to reconfigure them to maximize the potential for open space and public spaces. And we came to the conclusion in the subcommittee that we would like to bring this to a workshop where we invite the public to work with us on visualization of the space and the possible transfer of the existing building zones that we have to make it a more usable open space and public space. And so I think we need to bring it to the public and get the input of the council on what the possibilities could be and how best to utilize what we have out there. So I would like to propose that we agendize this, and I would think that it's probably a couple months out before we're really ready to come to the public with it. Although I would appreciate personally any members of the public who are interested in it to contact me so I can show them the maps that I have and so that people can start visualizing what they may want or not want, or, you know, their wants and desires. and then, I'd also, and we didn't really discuss this too much in committee, but people have asked me about, in the guidelines, if we make a change to the areas, if that's going to change the floor area ratios and the permitted uses and all those things. And I'd really like to keep those two items separate until we can get a consensus on reconfiguring. Because I think to do it in conjunction is a little bit more involved and would be much more difficult to get a consensus between even us. Much less. I think they really need to be separated on what's a good conceptual idea and what is a good economic idea. And I think they need to be separated in that respect. So, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that we had that meeting with Louise, because Louise brought some really good insight to the process, and she was talking about having the council look at the different maps and kind of coming up with a decision. Yeah, let's move in this direction, or let's move in staying with what we have, or making some changes. And then, once the council had made that decision to move in whatever direction, then reaching out to the community with a charrette, really getting the community involved with some of the placemaking parts of the space that we decide that's what we want to.
And I think that we really need to get the community involved to begin with on the possible reconfiguration of the zone. Because I think without community buy-in, we're not going to be able to move forward with it in a positive way. And it really needs to be a positive, this is going to make it better. Because if it's not going to make it better, then we should leave it alone. So unless we can get a positive outcome and think and feel that we're really making a positive change to the access and the open space and the public usefulness of the space, I think we're spinning our wheels. So I would like to invite any members of the public to contact me, to look at the maps, to sit and just talk about it and get it out there, and make it a positive thing, because I think it really can be. We've got a fabulous area, and I think that we need to see how we can, in our future dreams, maximize it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And we were talking about whether or not we should have it be part of a regular council meeting or having a separate workshop.
I almost think it should, I think that it might be
better.
better to have it as a workshop on our first go-around, where we do visualization of not so much the use, but the actual land itself. And in the context of open space and public space.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's something that needs to be worked out, how we can maximize input from the public and how we can get the most out of any kind of workshop that we do.
Yes. And so, Terry, you're going to be out the latter part of May. You think it's sometime?
For 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so you're thinking maybe sometime in June?
That could work. It's really going to depend on the feedback that we get to begin with, that for me, but I mean, whatever after that date is fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, your June is pretty well booked with budget.
Budget.
So, and then
Yeah.
July's recess, so I probably would be August.
Okay. Yeah.
And then on a separate matter, I attended the Castañas Canyon Habitat Restoration Day. I wanted to thank Lisa Portocorvo for her hard work and the Open Space and Ecology Committee's work on the event. It was very nicely done. City staff did a great job, and it was a really fun, hard-working day. So, wanted to thank staff and our committee work for that.
Nice.
Oh, good, yeah, that's a great tradition.
Yeah, they've been working on that canyon for quite a few years, and you could really see the transformation.
Oh, yes, you can.
Pulled a few trees out of there through the years.
Yeah?
I bet, yeah.
You know that canyon very well, right?
Mhm.
Any other, subcommittee reports? Okay.
Motion to
well-
extend the meeting for 15 minutes.
Second?
You're talking about the regular meeting or
Yeah.
the
Regular
successor
meeting.
agency meeting?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Well, we haven't even called the other one to order yet.
Yeah,
so-
right, yeah.
Well, this one should be pretty quick, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a second? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Communications? Wanna just report what it is?
We received a letter from the Human Rights Campaign Foundation that they will be including Brisbane in this year's Municipal Equality Index. And that report, I believe, is supposed to come out later this year, will be published in November of 2013. So just a notification that process will be happening this year.
That's good.
Okay,
I think that's exciting that we're included in that, for a small town.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, oral communications number 2. Suspect that there probably aren't any takers. So then we move to, we're gonna adjourn to the successor agency meeting, which immediately follows, the regular council meeting. But the adjournment, should be in memory of Eleanor Blanchard, right? Clark?
Eleanor Ellie Blanchard, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll move immediately to with that adjournment of the regular council meeting, we move to the meeting of the successor agency. And I guess we do need to have the call to order and the roll call.
Note for the record that all board members are present.
And we have a number of business items, and